Yo, what's going on guys, it is FoxyDude back here with a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. And today I'm going to be giving you guys a tutorial guide on how to use Rey in Star Wars Battlefront 2. As you guys know, I've been posting a lot of Heroes vs Villains gameplay here on the channel, as that is the game mode that I absolutely love playing on Star Wars Battlefront 2. And today I thought I'd give you guys a guide on how to use Rey in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Mostly giving you guys tips on how to play with her in HVV, but I'll also be giving as many tips as I can possible when it comes to playing Galactic Assault with Rey. Now in Star Wars Battlefront 2, I'm mostly a lightsaber user, so personally for me, I find that the lightsaber heroes are also the best in the game if you can use them properly, but also blaster heroes are very, very strong as well. But of course, as a lightsaber user, I love these characters loads, and I thought I would give you guys a tutorial guide on how to use Rey and what are the best stat cards to really work with her. So first of all then, Rey starts off the game with 750 health. This is the most health out of any light side hero in the game, so she is the strongest in terms of her health. In terms of her lightsaber base attack, it is also the strongest out of the two other lightsaber heroes of Luke Skywalker and also Yoda. So in other words, you're already off to a good start with Rey, as she's got the best health and also the best bog standard lightsaber attack. However, it's her abilities that pretty much put her into a brand new league compared to the other two lightsaber heroes. The first one that she has is Dash Strike. Dash Strike is actually a very, very strong ability, even though it's probably the weakest out of the three. Dash Strike basically makes her put her lightsaber into pretty much a jousting position, and then she dashes and charges towards her enemies, and then she can obviously knock them over if she gets the hits in terms of playing against enemy heroes or even as enemy troopers. Now this Dash Strike is actually very, very good for lots of different reasons. It's very good for an attack, and it's also very good defensively. Looking at it when it comes to attacking, if you dash strike to an enemy trooper or even an enemy hero that is not in lightsaber defense, it will actually knock the enemy over. Now this is a very big one. If you use this wisely, you can actually cancel Rey's dash attack and make sure that you get the proper hits on it. The best way that I use this in HVV is that I use the dash attack button, dash over towards my enemies, they'll get knocked on the floor. Granted that they're not in lightsaber defense mode. If they are defending with their lightsaber, then most likely, yes, they will actually defend my attacks. But if they're not using lightsaber defense and they're just ready to attack, if you use the dash strike, the enemy heroes will fall to the floor. Using this, you can actually cancel Rey's dash attack. So as soon as you hit your enemy target and they've just fallen on the floor, instantly press right trigger to activate Rey's normal attacks, and you can actually stop the dash attack and you can continue hitting your targets whilst they're on the floor trying to recover. This is a very strong way to use Rey's dash attack in terms of its offensive play, and however in defensive play, it can be used in different ways. Rey's dash attack can be cancelled at any specific time by pressing any other button, whether it be the jump button or the dash button that obviously the heroes have in this game. This will be very, very crucial, especially if you miss your dash attack. There's a lot of times when I'm running around and I use the dash attack and I basically just miss my enemy targets, and if you use the dash button or the jump button, it will cancel that and you can get yourself back into the fight without being too far away before the enemies actually disappear. So I highly recommend doing that. Also, if you miss with the dash attack and you're about to dash attack off the map, be sure to use the dash button backwards to basically do a backwards dash. That will cancel it and then you'll be fine and there'll be no problems there. In terms of the defensive way to use Rey's dash attack, obviously if you're in a hard battle and you've just, taken out an enemy hero, or you've just taken out a bunch of troopers if you're playing Galactic Assault, and you decide to want to run away, you can use the dash attack to actually escape from the battlefield. Also, if you're getting heavily beaten up and you need to try and recover some health, the best way to do it, obviously, use dash attack to sprint away. And if you use the dash attack and then the jump button and hold it all the way down, Rey actually jumps a very high distance, and it will definitely help her and make her escape, which I find is very, very good in this game. The second ability that Rey has is Mind Trick. Mind Trick is probably the best ability that Rey has in the battlefield, maybe comparing it to Insight. Mind Trick basically inverts the enemy player's controllers for a short period of time, while also giving them very slow mobility. So this is a very, very good one, especially if you use it with the next ability, and the ability that she has in the middle is Insight. Insight reveals all enemy players on the map within a specific radius for a select period of time. This is an absolutely amazing one, as it will allow you to really plan out your strategy when coming to attack enemy heroes or troopers. This one can allow Rey to use her flanking powers to the absolute maximum, and using this as well as Mind Trick, you can really set yourselves up perfectly for an attack on the enemy team, and I do recommend using Insight and Mind Trick at the same time. So what's the best way to use Rey then? If we've gone through what her health is and her lightsaber attacks are, and also her abilities, what's the best way to use Rey? Rey's actually a very, very tactical used character. If you're a person that likes to run into the battlefield going all out aggressive and just go straight face to face with everybody, you're not going to be using Rey properly. The best way to use Rey is actually using really using the abilities to her powers. Using insight is critical whenever you respawn or you've just come into the battlefield. It's going to be critical as it's going to point out where the enemies are. Rey is a very mentally guided hero, is the best way I can say it. And not only does she use her mental abilities in Star Wars, but mentally you're going to have to use her yourself to really work with this one. She's much more better when you use the flanking methods in order to take out your enemy heroes. This is the best way that I highly recommend using Rey in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Popping that insight, making sure you can see exactly where the enemy team is on the map, in their exact locations, because they'll be highlighted. And then obviously, once you see where they are, you can then plot your plan and go around and use the flanking methods. Once you've then obviously gone around and flanked your enemy targets, you can then go straight into battle using Mind Trick, and then you're also using the stat cards that I will be showing you guys in just a second to really help you out in this game. So like I said before, the best way to use Rey if you really want to use her in HVV is by flanking. If you want to use it in Galactic Assault, it's kind of up to your choice really. You can go face to face with enemy targets, but again, flanking is the best way with Rey. Using that insight is your key weapon to actually completing your attacks with Rey. If you decide to run into enemy battles without using insight, you're really not going to get you're not going to get that far basically if you try and go into there without using insight. It is key that using insight is always on your peripherals whenever going straight into battles. In Galactic Assault, in terms of using Rey, you need to be kind of careful with her, because if you go straight into the battle and there's too many heroes there or too many troops there, you're going to start to struggle a little bit, and that's where using Mind Trick comes into play as well. Once you've used the insight with Rey and you've got yourself into a perfect flanking position, the next stage you're going to be needing to use Mind Trick. Obviously, as I've said before, this is going to invert everybody's controls and make them a lot slower when it comes to moving. In Heroes vs Villains, it's quite easy to counter a Mind Trick by using a lot of dashes and also by just jumping around a lot. But when it comes to him playing in Galactic Assault, it's going to be a lot easier because obviously you can always get a hit on the enemy troopers, and it's only going to take 2 hits to take down obviously the 4 trooper classes in this game. So that's the best way to use Rey, personally, I feel, in Star Wars Battlefront 2, is by using insight to make sure that you plan out a flanking route, and then using Mind Trick when you've completed your flank, and then going for the attack. You can use the dash strike, cancel the dash strike as soon as you've hit them on the floor, and go in for the attacks that way. That's the best way to use Rey in my opinion. Using those two abilities straight away, and then keeping the dash strike for when you're actually going straight into battle. But now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the stat cards for Rey and show you what are the best ones to use for Rey before we round off today's hero tutorial guide using Rey. Alright, so if we take a look at Rey's stat cards then in Star Wars Battlefront 2, she's actually got a very strong set of stat cards that she can possess to herself in this game. And as you can see, I've done a lot of work actually on Rey. My Rey is actually level 27. I've done a lot of work with her, but I'm going to go through them all and then show you guys. Obviously, you can see the ones that I have selected, which I do use to play when I do play my games. Now, the first one here you can see is Far Sight, which Insight has an increased area of effect. This one is actually the one you get if you pre-ordered the game. You get the epic version or legendary, however they say it. And then you've got Focus Sight. Insight will be active for a longer period of time. The next one is Street Fighter. As a self-trained fighter, Rey melee strikes drain less stamina. Survivor, whenever Rey defeats an enemy trooper, she regains 20 health, and whenever she defeats an enemy villain, she regains even more. Then we've got Resilient Dash. Rey receives less damage while charging forward with a dash strike. Then you've got Opportunist, which is Rey deals bonus damage to enemies affected by any immobilizing effect, including Mind Trick. Then we've got Deep Mind, which is Mind Trick has a longer duration on the targets that are revealed by Insight. Strong Mind, Mind Trick has an increased area of effect. And then Damaging Strike, Rey will deal more damage with Dash Strike for each target that is hit. Now, as I've said before, I'm mostly a HVV player, so I obviously have picked stat cards that go with HVV, but I am going to give you another option when it comes to Galactic Assault as well. But first of all, the stats cards that I use when I play HVV, the first one is Deep Mind. Mind Trick has a longer duration on targets that are revealed by Insight, so an added 30% duration of their Mind Trick will continue if you use Insight. So if you pop an Insight, you find a target, you go around and you use Mind Trick, whilst they're still affected by your Insight, they will have inverted controls for a much longer time and for 30% more, which is very, very crucial, as it will allow you to take on these targets which are affected by insight, and they can't really do much. They'll have inverted controls and they'll be moving slowly, and it's really, really effective on both Galactic Assault and HVV. Opportunist, this one is very, very good, and this one needs to be used probably a lot more than what it is, and its Ray deals bonus damage to enemies affected by any immobilizing effect, including Mind Trick. So this is critical. You pop an Insight or you pop a Mind Trick, you use Deep Mind and you use Opportunist at the same time. Use your Insight, then use Mind Trick, then Mind Tricks for an even longer period of time. Run in there with the Opportunist stat card enabled, and you can do a maximum of 15 plus damage to your enemy heroes or enemy troopers, depends on what game mode you play. This one is very, very good, and I strongly recommend using this one. The next one here is Survivor. This is the other stat card that I use, and these are the 3 stat cards that I use for HVV. And it's whenever Ray defeats an enemy trooper, she regains 20 health, and whenever she defeats an enemy villain, she regains even more. This one is crucial. If you, obviously, as you know, heroes do regain health, actually, in this game compared to the last one. However, sometimes they may not be able to regen all the way up to max health because they've taken so much damage. So, of course, if you're using Ray and you can go on a little bit of a kill streak, obviously, whilst going on that kill streak, you'll be able to regain some health. I'm actually currently working on trying to get this up to the last upgrade, which is the purple upgrade. I'm just less than 200 crafting points off. And the final one that I do recommend as well, if you're playing Galactic Assault mostly, is Insight will be active for a longer period of time. An extra 7 seconds of Insight, if this is maxed out, is actually very, very good, especially if you're looking to go on a flanking maneuver, and also if the enemies are quite far away. It allows you to have a lot more time to sort out your flanking, make sure no one's coming anywhere near you when you're making your Insight moves. So this one, especially for Galactic Assault, when there's more players on the battlefield, is a very, very strong one in terms of all the stat cards. But for Heroes vs Villains, which is the game mode I always play, Deep Mind, Opportunistic, and Survivor are the stat cards that I would recommend you using if you want to get the best out of Ray. Overall then, in terms of Star Wars Battlefront 2, I personally do believe Ray is the strongest lightsaber user for the light side in this game, and using her stat cards wisely will really help you out in game. So overall then, if you'd like to play as Ray when it comes to playing in Galactic Assault and also in HVV, the best way to use it is using her flanking methods and also mentally using your own mind to really plan out your attacks. The best way obviously to do it using the insight, making sure that you can see where the players are on the map so you know exactly where to flank in order to submit the best out of your attacks. Then once you get behind your enemy lines and you're ready to make sure that to start the attack, pop a mind trick on them to make sure they're inverted in their controllers, and obviously they'll be slow at moving so they won't really be able to get very far. Use those attacks and obviously then use the dash strike whenever you've just met someone face to face and you can't use those flanking methods, and you'll be all set. So guys, hopefully you have enjoyed today's tutorial guide on Ray. If you have, feel free to drop it a like, and if you're on the around here as well, feel free to click the subscribe button if you do enjoy the content you do see here on the channel. And then also, if you guys would like to see any hero or any villain covered like this, where I can go through them and have a look at what the best way to use them are, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll try out those heroes or villains and give you guys the best tutorial I can on how to use them in HVV and Galactic Assault. And until then guys, I'll see you for another Star Wars Battlefront 2 video very, very soon. Take care all, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.